another episode of Picture at Home Summer Break Edition. My name is Alyssa, and you might have caught a small glimpse of me at the end of our last series, but I am here for the summer to show you guys all of these really awesome projects that we have planned. So the Summer Break Edition takes place all in the outdoors. We're gaining inspiration and creativity from nature and our surroundings, and we have created a bunch of really awesome projects surrounding that theme. So I'm so excited to show you guys what we have in store for this week. So grab your sunscreen and come join me. This week's project is going to be pressing flowers, and we're going to be making our own bookmarks out of that. So come along with me while I search around for my favorite kind of flowers and plant life that I want to be including in my project. So now that we have all of our flowers picked out, it is now time for us to work on our composition. So composition is the elements involved in a work of art. So imagine that we're working with a canvas, and our elements that we're dealing with today are going to be flowers. And it's up to us to decide what we think looks the best. What combination of flowers or leaves really speaks to you when you lay them down on the paper. So when I'm arranging, things that I want to keep in mind are maybe what colors do I think look good together? Maybe I like how red and yellow look together, or I like these contrasting blue and red tones. Don't be afraid to play around with different kinds of sizes of objects as well, using smaller leaves or these longer ones, and see what works best. And it's okay also to realize, you know what, I don't think the red one is working. I think I'm gonna switch it out for the yellow one. And you just play around with it until you are satisfied with the outcome. Once I'm happy with my arrangement, now it's time for me to start sizing everything up the way that I want it. So that might mean that I have to trim off certain stems or certain areas. And that also might mean that I have to cut off more leaves from a certain area just for everything to have balance. I'm going to be showing you guys two different methods that you can use to press flowers. The first method that we're going to talk about is the most traditional method, which is pressing your flowers inside of a book. So you want to make sure that you're choosing a heavy book, very substantial. And the only other materials other than the flowers are going to be some wax paper and some masking tape. You might not need the masking tape, but since I'm outside and the wind can sometimes be a factor, I'm going to be taping mine down just to be safe. Okay, so starting with my book, I'm going to pick a spot somewhere in the middle and just open it up. I'm going to lay down my first piece of wax paper, and you want it to be approximately the size of the book that you're using. So since I have this wind coming up, I'm going to take a little bit of masking tape. And now I'm ready to put my arrangement of flowers inside. So once you have an arrangement that you are happy with, we are going to take the tape off of the wax paper, and we are going to take another sheet of wax paper and place it on top. we have our 2 sheets of wax paper in between the middle of this very heavy book, and we are just simply going to, now that I have my super heavy book, we have to remember that in order to press the flowers, we need to create and put a lot of pressure on top. So one option is that you could lay a bunch of heavy stuff on it, but a neat trick that you can also do is put it into a bookcase as well. So I have a pretty stacked bookcase over here, and I'm just gonna wedge it right in there so it's nice and tight. And now I'm just gonna leave it for a week.
1 week later.
I'm going to take my book out of the case and let's see what we wound up with. I'm super excited to see what it looks like after all this time has passed. So let's open this guy up and we're gonna gently remove. So we have our wax paper. We can already tell that the flowers are nice and flat. So I'm gonna take off the top piece of wax paper very gently. And as you guys can see, they're nice and dried out and ready for the next step. Method 2 is a little bit more time sensitive, so the way that we're going to be pressing and drying out our flowers is with a microwave. So with the microwave method, we are going to start by arranging our flowers on our piece of paper the way that we like it. Other materials that we are going to need are just a dry paper towel, and you're also going to need a heavy dish. So I kind of improvised and used a heavier plate with, just for added security, a heavier bowl on top. Next step that we're going to do is we're going to take our arrangement that we made on 1/2 of the paper, and we are just going to fold it over the other half. And then we are going to lay our paper towel down. Next step, you're just going to place your floral arrangement into the microwave and making sure that you place microwave safe heavy objects on top. Depending on the strength of your microwave, you're gonna microwave for between 30 and 60 seconds. With this microwave, I think I'm gonna go somewhere in the middle. I'm gonna go for 45 seconds. So. All right, guys, moment of truth. We are going to take this out and see what we came up with. All right, so removing my paper towel and unfolding my paper, we have, ooh. All right, so as we see that the microwave helped drain that excess moisture that was still hanging out in the flowers, and the paper and the paper towel helped get rid of that to help dry the flowers out for us. There's a lot of different options of things that you can do with your pressed flowers, but one really fun and cute idea that I'm going to show you is how to make them into transparent bookmarks. So what you need after your flowers is actually just transparent matte contact paper. So I went ahead and cut 2 pieces of contact paper, and they are 6 inches high by 3 inches wide. So I gave myself a lot of extra space to work with, but remember, we're gonna try and line these up as best as we can. But they might not be perfect. In fact, they probably won't be, which is why you want to allow yourself enough space so that you can trim it down to the size that you want when you're done. So I have my flowers right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the backing off of my contact paper. And I want to remember to put sticky side up on the paper that I have in the meantime. And I'm just gonna pre-prepare the other sheet as well, so it is also ready to go. All right, and now it's time for me to start arranging my flowers on here. One thing to consider is that I just showed you exactly how sticky this is, so you have to be sure when you place your flower down that you're positive that's where you want it to go, because once it gets laid down, you're not going to be able to move it. So just make sure that you put that careful consideration in before you lay it down. So I feel confident. I'm gonna put this right here and I'm gonna press it down gently into the contact paper. And then I'm gonna keep going. So I like how this spiky one looks. I'm gonna lay that one right there. And I like how this smaller one looks. So I see all of this negative space over here, meaning I don't have anything that is filling it up. It looks really blank. So I'm gonna use the opportunity to lay my friend right here and round out that space really nice. And I also have one dried leaf. I'm not sure what I want to do with this yet, so I'm gonna stick it to the side. Do you guys remember what my yellow flower looked like before I ended up putting it in the microwave? So it looked very different afterwards, turned into a completely different flower. So I'm really, really excited by the transformation that it went through. I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna pop it right on there and gently press in with my other friends. Okay, I'm still thinking to myself, do I want to add this little leaf? These are things that you gotta consider. Do I want it to go here or here? Actually, I like that. All right, I'm gonna stick that down right there. All right. Okay. So I'm happy with this. I am going to put the other piece of contact paper directly on top. But like you guys have noticed the whole time, it's really sticky and it's really hard to get them to be perfect putting them on. So I'm just gonna do my best, okay, to line them up as easy as possible. And remember that I can always trim anything that I'm not happy with. So I'm gonna line it up on the corner and I'm gonna kinda move up like that, connect those corners. And I'm gonna kinda slowly push. Until I have, voila. So I do think I have too much space over here, and I'm gonna show you guys how I am going to cut this to frame it a little bit more to my liking. Before I do that, I am actually gonna take my very heavy book once again, and I'm gonna lay it down on top and just push down and really, really flatten that out. One other neat idea that you can do is that you can attach a string to your bookmark in order to save your place while you're reading a book. And it's super easy. All you need is a single hole punch. So we're gonna go ahead and just pop that through, make our hole. And now we're just gonna loop through some string. Okay guys, so that is our project for this week. So I really hope that this inspires you guys to explore your own neighborhoods, get out in nature, and find some things that are around that you can use in really different creative ways. Thank you so much for joining me this week on our second episode of Texture at Home Summer Break. We will be back next Saturday, and I hope to see you guys then. Bye!